operate that little thing that, okay.
Pam, are you going to sit over here next for this song? If you want.
But guitar's still on this, right?
Right. Correct. Figured we'd make one of them simple. I have my mic off. Except for this one's on. Words I have to say. Put on the mic over heck. You put yours on too. The words I have to say may well be simple, but they're true. Until we change our ways, there's nothing more that we can do.
Don't get emotional.
Love is the open door. Love is what we came here for. No one could ask of us more. Do you know what I mean? Have your eyes really seen? It's hard just keep in touch. I added a verse, but
Okay, yeah, no, that's, I saw that in your part of it.
Okay, cool. Something going on downstairs. In other words, we don't need to provide the
No, well, no, you can provide all of the text that I gave you, but you might just gesture and then they can wave and say like, that's us.
Okay. Sounds good. So in other words, I can stick with the language if they're in the sanctuary.
You know
Okay.
Sue Gold? Sue is wearing a black shirt and she has glasses and white hair. She's sitting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rows back. She's talking to the gentleman.
In the blue t-shirt.
She is flanked by the Project Minus.
Okay, cool.
So that's where they are.
Okay, thank you.
What else? That's it. Okay.
The music sounds good.
Yeah.
Good morning. My name is Greg Nosan. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm a worship associate here at the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Cleveland. Welcome. I'm delighted to be with all of you here this morning. We come here from different places, religions, beliefs, and backgrounds, and each of us comes for multiple reasons: to find community, to explore and grow, both spiritually and personally, to love and be loved, and to transform the world. We hope you'll find connection, inspiration, comfort, and courage here. Wherever you are, wherever you come from, whoever you are, whomever you love, we welcome you. We especially welcome this morning any guests who are joining us for the first time today, either in person or online. If you're interested in learning more about who we are, we invite you to fill out one of the guest cards, which you can find in the pew rack in front of you. You can place that card in the offering plate later in the service, and we'll be sure to reach out to you. If you're watching remotely, we invite you to visit our website at uucleveland.org or send us an email. We're now about to enter into sacred time and space, so please take a moment to set any of your electronic devices to worship mode. We welcome Molly Watkins as our chalice lighter this morning. In addition to being one of our amazing new board members, Molly sings in the choir, co-directs the youth choir, and teaches in our religious education programs. She attends UUCC along with her partner Andrew Watkins, kids Sophie and Drew Watkins, and mom Becky Burns. Thanks, Molly, for all you do, including lighting our chalice this morning. Please join me in reciting the words of our chalice lighting, which are also the words of our covenant, which you can find on the yellow card in the pew rack in front of you. We cultivate trust with one another by celebrating differences, honoring boundaries, and offering compassion and care. We listen to each other deeply with curiosity and wonder. We speak for ourselves without need to defend ourselves or persuade each other. We create safe and brave space for healthy conflict, creativity, and fun. We reconcile through forgiving and making amends when we hurt one another.
Good morning. I am the Reverend Randy Partain. My pronouns are they, them, and I am delighted to be with you in worship today, whether you're here in person or joining us online. Instead of listening to some heady words from some really intelligent person as our call to worship, I invite you to take a moment and just center in the space where you are, and maybe feel the connection that you have with the people around you. You might even close your eyes and visualize that connection as being threads of energy, if you could visualize that. And maybe you also visualize threads of energy with other people out in the world that you might be connected with. And maybe even threads of energy that connect us with our winged guest that's been flying around the sanctuary this morning and other things out in the rest of nature. So from this space of centeredness and connection, may we enter into worship together. In just a moment, we're going to sing together hymn number 1067, Mother Earth, Beloved Garden. It's in the teal hymnal. But before we do that, we'll acknowledge that connection we just envisioned by greeting one another. If you see someone that you don't recognize, please make a special effort to give them a greeting this morning.
I see my Carney.
Seems kind of nice and dead.
We continue being mindful of our connection with one another and our community with a time of sharing our joys and concerns. If you're joining us online today, I invite you to put any joys or concerns you want to share with the congregation in the comments down below. If you're here in person, we have a book that is up here ahead of time so that you can put any joys or concerns you want folks to know about in writing before the service begins. And today we offer a stone of healing energy, prayers, and good thoughts for Peggy Lagodny's friend Sammy, who is facing, as she puts it, a handful of potentially life-altering medical concerns and diagnoses. Healing energy, prayers, and good thoughts for Sammy. What other joys or concerns do you want to acknowledge today? I invite you to come forward and place a stone in the water to symbolize anything you're carrying with you.
I have to say may well be simple, but they're true. Until we change our ways, there's nothing more that we can do. Love is the opening door. Love is what we came here for. No one could ask us more. Do you know what I mean? Have your eyes really seen? Find our way through nature's changing universe. Love is the open door. Love is what we came here for. No one could ask of us more. Do you know what I mean? Have your eyes really seen? In seeking sheltered space beneath the shade of neem or elm, an ancestral place in networks of Mycelium. Love is the one could ask of us more. Do you know what I mean? Have your eyes really seen the science is well known? Present times have made it clear. As partners in this home, now our hearts must learn to hear. Love is the open door. Love is what we came here for. No one could ask of us more. Do you know what I mean? Love is the open door. Love is what we came here for. No one could ask of us more. Do you know what I mean? Have your eyes really seen? Have your eyes really seen?
We place a stone of gratitude for the reminder of that open door of love that is available to us all. And a stone for any joys or concerns that were shared online today.
Good morning. I haven't used this microphone since I was a bridging senior, so forgive me. My name is Claudia Bashian Viktorov. I use they, them, and she, her pronouns. I'm a lifelong UU, raised in this building at First U, and now proudly a member of UUCC. I was dedicated on this stage in 2000, came of age in 2009, and bridged into the young adult community in 2013. As this community has grown and changed, I have grown and changed. My UU practice has been a major guiding force in my life, now alongside my science. I'm a fungal biologist at the Holden Arboretum. I'm grateful that my science and religious tradition have always integrated quite nicely, each offering questions and answers to the other. Today, I want to share a lesson from fungal biology, as seen through the eyes of a UU. When I was 19 in a soil ecology class, I saw my faith actualized in the mycelial network. The common mycelial network is the web of fungal tendrils growing in and between roots and connecting similar and dissimilar plants below ground. The fungi that participate in these interactions are named mycorrhizal fungi, and they are plant mutualists, meaning that they form mutually beneficial interactions with plants. As a freshly bridged UU, this idea felt wholesome, cooperative, and intriguing. I found the mycelial network to be our interdependent web manifest. Like many things in life and in young adulthood, the more I learned about tree fungal mutualisms, the more nuanced and complicated these relationships became. While I still find beauty and spiritual wholeness in the existence of the mycelial network, my understanding of biological interactions has added depth to my interpretation of these interactions. One thing that I see missing in a lot of popular science communications about the fungal network is the role of evolution in the formation of mutualists. The relationship between trees and their fungal partners came about because these organisms shared long time over shared space and shared evolutionary histories. Only through shared space and long time, and some trial and error, did a state of mutual benefit arise. While we call these interactions mutualisms, they're not always without conflict. In any mutualism, both organisms are looking for something that they need out of the relationship, which means that sometimes, and in some environmental contexts, one organism may be at a loss. Over 28 years in this community, with many different contexts, sometimes I've felt at a loss. I felt confused by some transitions that I didn't understand. I felt sad to no longer see a person or practice that I felt attached to, and I felt scared about a change that was yet to come. But through these moments, and much more often, I have felt held by this congregation. I have had space to grow and change. I have found the healing power of community. In the tree of life, the fungal tree of life, the practice of being a mutualist has arisen time and time again in different fungal lineages, naturalized and in different environmental contexts. The state of being mutualistic in all of these diverse contexts proved to be an evolutionary advantage. In my life and in this congregation, the practice of being a mutualist has arisen time and time again over the long history of this ever-changing community. Through shared space and time and some trial and error, we continuously find a place where mutual thriving can arise. I'd like to leave you with an abridged quote from Sarita Bradshaw, a senior at Bard College that I'm grateful to know. She says, "We should look to fungi themselves to begin to imagine a future. Their ephemerality and invisibility teach us to look harder and longer, to be willing to be surprised. Their hyphae teach us to be far-reaching and finely branched in our understanding of the world. Mostly, their strangeness gives us the freedom to be strange as well, to feel comfortable rejecting the mainstream, the dominant, the hegemonic, and to settle into weirder interpretations of the world." Thank you.
Thanks so much, Claudia. Today's offering recipient is Project Linus, whose mission is to provide love, a sense of security, warmth, and comfort to children who are seriously ill, traumatized, or otherwise in need. They do this through gifts of new handmade blankets and afghans, which are lovingly created by volunteer blanketeers, who, since 1995, have made over 9 million. This is the number from their website, which is worth repeating, 9,356,325 blankets. And I think that's probably long out of date. We have 2 representatives from Project Linus, local representatives with us today, and I think there you are. And they're going to be with us after the service in Fellowship Hall and going to be running a fun project. They have fabric markers and cloth squares with simple coloring book style designs on them. And the squares will then be joined together to make to quilts. So children and children of all ages, which means all the rest of us, and the young at heart are welcome to join them on that project. And they can also answer any questions you might have about Project Linus and the work they do. We have, however, now the chance to support that work by giving as we're able. And you can do that either by placing your offering in the plate that's going to be passed or by using our Cash App. The handle is $, all caps, UUCC44122, and be sure to use the message 7/30 plate in the 4 line of the app.
ran along the road, and I asked him, "Where are you going?" And this he told me. "I'm going on down to Yeska's farm, gonna join in a rock and roll band. I'm gonna camp out on the lawn, gonna try and get my soul free. We are stardust, we are golden, and we've got to get ourselves back to the garden." Then can I walk beside you? I have come here to lose the smog, and I feel to be a cog in something turning. Well, maybe it is just the time of year, or maybe it's the time of man. I don't know who I am, but life is for learning. We are stardust, we are golden, and we've got to get ourselves back to the garden. By the time we got to Woodstock, we were 500,000 strong, and everywhere was song and celebration. And I dreamed I saw the bombers riding shotgun in the sky, and they were turning to butterflies above our nation. We are stardust, billion-year-old carbon. We are golden, caught in the devil's bargain, and we've got to get ourselves back to the garden.
As we have been doing over the summer, we're rotating through some different musical responses to our offering. You can actually let us know what you think about the songs we've been choosing, because Mike put some options for you in the music notes in this week's newsletter to do a little survey and say, here's how I feel about all of these different things. But today, we're going to sing the first verse of Love Will Guide Us. The words are in your order of service.
Death, grief, heartache, betrayal, and other devastations are all part of our human experience. We spend an immense amount of time trying to escape or avoid these inevitable human experiences. One of the most important lessons Mycelia can offer us is how to turn and face the toxicity and pain in our world and find life in it. Mycelia see the potential life in everything. Everything dead and alive goes into the soil and gets processed into life. When we understand that our pain and grief are part of our aliveness, part of how we learn to be, and part of how we ultimately contribute to the life of our planet, we can learn to eat everything and make it fuel. We can recycle and upcycle everything because it is all material, data, content, source. We can make death into life.
Are you still visualizing those threads of energy? I think about the Project Linus offering and the tendrils that we just shot out into the world toward other people that we don't know by our gift today. But before we talk more about those tendrils, I've got a question. I'm using wireless 2 for this. You probably know that already based on which one I went to. I want you to think about a time when you were in just burnt out mode. You were feeling completely burnt out with whatever you were doing. Or maybe a time when you felt like you needed to escape from a toxic environment. I don't want to know about the toxic environment. Well, I mean, that's a worthy story to tell sometime. What I want to know is, where did you go? When you were feeling burned out, or when you felt like you had to escape a toxic environment, where did you go? And if there's anybody who's willing to share, I will bring wireless 2 to you. Just real briefly.
I actually came here to Ohio because where I did come from, some of the places that I came from, I went from one thinking I'd find another that might be better, but I did come here and I feel better here.
So what is it that feels better about here?
Well, when I was living in West Virginia, I realized, well, in 2012, I started getting sick. And
So just physically it feels better here?
well, yes. I mean, I spent 13 years in West Virginia. And I moved there he and David and I moved to West Virginia in 2008.
So I'm gonna leap past all of that to coming here. What you received from being in a different place
Yes.
was what?
Well, I moved here and I was feeling better.
Okay.
And I'm sorry I took a long time.
No, you're fine.
Sometimes it's hard for me to communicate.
You're doing great. I know sometimes when we have gotten out of a painful situation, that's the story we keep telling. And so I'm looking at the story of what comes next. Where did we move to when we left that place of feeling burnt out, or when we left that toxic place? Where did we get to? And I see, I'll come right back to you. I see you, and
So when I start feeling burned out and fried and that sort of thing, I feel like this motor inside of me that just has to move, and where it has to move to is outside. Just walking outside is where I need to go.
Getting outside, maybe there's a sense of having space with that.
It's true. I go for a walk in a meadow. It's a clearing, and there's diversity within that meadow, and it reminds me.
The diversity within the meadow revives you. I see you.
When I need a change, I ask Mark for a big hug. That really helps.
Perfect. You're setting me up so good.
When I used to have a hard job, my husband said, "You need to go and lie down on the earth." And I went to the Coast Range in near Oregon, and I laid down, and I felt like I was lying down on the breast of the mother.
When I was experiencing difficulty at work and also in my personal life, I raced small wet boats, sailboats, and also skied. And both were exhilarating and terrifying. And the terror part of that was like a flow experience. And I would find that almost everything was washed away in my own fear, and then the success of finishing. I don't have either of those now. Swimming is the closest thing I come to having a regular exercise pattern that I can lose myself in.
Thanks, Jack. Okay, I see one more. I'm going to come running down here. And if you really, really missed getting to share, shoot that hand up faster next time.
So mine is twofold. I've been feeling somewhat overcommitted and a little burnt out recently, and two things have helped. We have a backyard that I'm working on, so I get out there and just kind of putter. No great thing to it, but then also last night Dana said, "So are we going to the UUCC tomorrow?" And I said, "Oh yeah, we're going." And that was part of the reason.
Why?
To be with other people, to hear this music, to hear the message, and kind of get to a different place. Think about something other than all my commitments.
Thank you. So now, we've been talking about mushrooms a little bit. Thank you, Claudia, for that lovely reminder about what mushrooms might teach us. When you think about a mushroom, though, when you imagine a mushroom, what comes into your head? An umbrella, somebody shouted out. I think that's what a lot of us picture. We picture something that is like a stalk coming up from the ground, and then this umbrella-like cap over it, and maybe if we're really creative, that cap might have a variety of colors. If we have ever gone mushrooming, we might be thinking about an edible mushroom in our head and what we would be looking for. But most of the vegetation of a mushroom is not that. Most of the vegetation of a mushroom is underground. This mycelial network that Claudia was talking about. It's this dense mass of fine, thread-like filaments, and this is an essential part of the fungus life support system. They extend into soil, into plant matter, wood, and various materials to pick up water and nutrients and bring it back to headquarters. That top part that we normally picture is called a fruiting body. A fruiting body. So when you see a mushroom out in the wild, the part you see, now you know what to call it. But this mycelial network we don't get to see, usually. There are enzymes from those tendrils that break down material into digestible nutrients of a digestible size so it can get absorbed into those filaments, and then those bite-sized nutrients travel back to the fruiting body so that it can get exchanged for sugars. It's the most bioactive stage of a mushroom's life cycle. Without the mycelium, there's no mushroom. They form this underground network that doesn't just feed the mushroom, it connects to all kinds of other things. It's like a network of communication with all of the different plant life that network connects to. And it symbiotically facilitates the exchange of nutrients across an entire forest or an entire ecosystem. It is a literal, beautiful demonstration of an interconnected web of existence. We talk about honoring an interconnected web of existence. How are we doing with our angel? We've opened the best path out for you. I just want you to know. We talk about an interconnected web of existence, and we talk about honoring that interconnected web of existence, and we might like to think about being connected to people, and it might feel good to visualize those connections and those tendrils that are uniting us with the rest of humanity and the natural world. But a lot of times we just stop there, and we say, oh, we're interconnected. Isn't that great? All of our lives are interconnected with everything else. That makes me feel so good. It's like having a Maserati, but never actually learning how to drive. It feels good to have that beautiful machine, but what do we do with it? And these mycelial networks, these mushroom life support systems, are maybe trying to tell us this is what you do with an interconnected web. If you have an interconnected web of existence, here are some things you can do with it. You can nourish an entire ecosystem. You can take things that are toxic and turn them into life-giving nutrients. You can create a healthier community by getting rid of some of the pathogens that might threaten life here. Because the mycelia faces challenges as it extends and grows, and it figures out ways to defend against pathogens, but then it communicates that health to the different things that it touches in that system. We do not have to face the same, most of us don't have to face the same pathogens as a mycelial network on a daily basis. But there might be some spiritual pathogens that we would have to face within our interconnected web of existence. As we extend and grow, as we seek to nurture the world around us toward greater wholeness and well-being, what keeps us from fully thriving in alignment with our life-affirming values? We've named some of them. There have been some places where we feel like we're overcommitted. We feel like we have to do too much. That could be a spiritual pathogen. We might look at the news and feel a sense of being overwhelmed by everything that there is to do in the world. That could be a spiritual pathogen. We might feel like other people are making demands of us that we really don't want to live up to, but we feel like we are obligated. That sense of obligation can be a spiritual pathogen. Sometimes our impression that we have to do it by ourselves, and whatever we're feeling is just ours to deal with, that sense of rugged individuality, that's a plague on American society. That's a huge spiritual pathogen we have to defend against. But we have this interconnected web of existence, and now we know what we can do with it. That connection is a way for us to defend ourselves against that burnout, that sense of toxicity that we experience in other places in the world, that sense that we are all alone in whatever it is that we are trying to do. In some faith communities, we might look at spiritual pathogens and say, what do we need to ask God for? I even reach up when I do that because that's where God was when I was growing up. That's where our angel is today. What do we ask God for? What can we not do for ourselves that we need to pray about so that we get that spiritual nourishment. And for some of us here today, that makes sense. That kind of language of praying for the things that we need that we can't do for ourselves makes sense. And for others, it doesn't. But maybe that's what we are to one another as an interdependent web of existence. Maybe that's what we are. Maybe God is in that connection between us. Maybe the divine is that interconnection, that interdependence. And so prayer might look like imagining where those threads of energy go from me and picking a spot and saying, I need to hear a good word from you. I need you to tell me that I'm not alone. I need you to go out and lie on the bosom of the earth mother with me for a while. I need you to sing me a song about the water. And maybe somebody says, no, I don't have time for that right now. But that's okay, because we are interdependent and interconnected with lots and lots and lots of people, and with the earth itself. But maybe these mycelial networks are trying to tell us, you've got this amazing gift, this interdependent web of connection. Here's what you can do with it. It's like they're the instruction manual for this spiritual asset that we have. And some people say, why do we focus so much on this community? We've been focusing a lot on this community. We've been talking about a community covenant. We're going to keep talking about a community covenant this year. We've been talking about what it means to be Unitarian Universalist. We're going to keep talking about that in the year ahead. Why do we focus so much inwardly when there are so many things to deal with out in the world? And the answer is because we don't stand a chance of addressing the so many things that there are out in the world unless we have that core of connection with this community. Adrienne Marie Brown, in another place in that same emergent strategy book that we heard from earlier, Adrienne Marie Brown says that change has to move at the speed of trust. We have to move at the speed of trust. And one of the ways that we build trust is by learning how to use that interconnected, interdependent web of existence that we've got at our disposal. So the mycelial networks in our world are asking us, what needs to change in me in order to be an agent of transformation in the world? What needs to change in us in order to create greater wholeness and well-being? What needs to happen under the surface? What needs to happen where the outside world really doesn't see it, so that when we emerge as a fruiting body in the world, that's our vision for Unitarian Universalism now. We're going to be a fruiting body. We're not going to send out spores. We're going to send out healing, love, and justice, and wholeness, and well-being. That's what we're going to send out into the world, but we have to do that underneath work in order to be transforming agents in the world around us. And so maybe we can be more mindful of how we detox one another and how we invite this to be a space where we transform the toxicity of the world around us and the toxicity of other areas of our lives into nourishing wholeness and well-being. Our mycelial network is our responsibility to nurture, and it is our gift to one another. May we use it wisely. Amen, and blessed be. I invite you to rise in body or spirit as we sing together Blue Boat Home. It is number 1064 in the Teal hymnal. If you want to help our congregation reach its mycelial network out into the interwebs, please like, share, and subscribe. I've remembered 2 weeks in a row, Sharon. I think I get some kind of points for that. I don't know what kind of points, but today we've got a lot of exciting things happening after the service. The Soul Matters conversation will be in the library today. Claudia has graciously agreed to facilitate that so that you can dive a little more personally into what it looks like for this to be a place where you transform toxicity into wholeness and what that mycelial network here might look like for you personally. We've also got Project Linus in the Fellowship Hall with a craft for all ages that you can take part in. And we have a quinceañera here. That's such an unusual thing for a Unitarian Universalist church, but Cecilia Gonzalez is having her quinceañera here at 1 p.m., and you are invited. Alan Georgia will be here officiating that, and I don't know if that was in our announcements in the newsletter on Thursday, but that's happening today at 1 o'clock right here in the sanctuary, Cecilia Gonzalez's quinceañera. Please do check the newsletter for the music notes survey so that you can let us know how the different offering responses are landing with you, and we will take that into consideration. Also, the link for the Ask Us Anything for Alan and myself is actually in this week's newsletter. I lied to you last Sunday. I apologize. It was not intentional. But it's in there this week. We're going to hopefully start a podcast where we get to interview a lot of people in the congregation about their spiritual practices that may not be typical spiritual practices. And we're going to start that off with a few episodes of Ask Us Anything, and you get to ask us anything. So that form is in the newsletter. And what else? Oh, August 12th. There's a Porch Talks for Beloved Community at Eastview UCC. That announcement was also in there, but I want to encourage you to attend. And I now have permission to let you know a little bit distant future. September 10th is going to be our in-gathering service, and we have managed to wrangle Emma's Revolution to be here with us for in-gathering. So tell your friends. May we learn how to metabolize death into life, toxicity into compassion, pain into love, and devastation into hope. We cannot do this alone. Loving the world into greater wholeness and well-being becomes more attainable when we build our mycelial network with one another within a community of trust. May we do so boldly. Amen. And blessed be.
Please join me. Please join me in this. Can you hear me? Okay. I don't know what happened. Better? Okay, great. Please join me in extinguishing the chalice with the words found on the back of the yellow card in the pew rack in front of you. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Okay, anytime, Alex. Mic's on?
You can play the game and you can act out the part, though you know it wasn't written for you. So tell me, how can you stand there with your broken heart, ashamed of playing the fool? One thing can lead to what they say about this squeaky wheel, always getting the grease. Better to shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Things are gonna work out fine if you only will do as I say. Shower the people you love with love. Show them the way they feel. Things are gonna be much. Shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. They're saying that way like you love with love. They say the rain must fall. Just like a pouring people you love with love. Make it rain. Show them the way that you feel. Make it rain. Shower the people you love with love. Sunshine. Show them the way that you feel. Make it rain. Shower the people you love with love. The sunshine. Show them the way that you feel. Yes, it is. Shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Yes, and everything will work out fine if we only will.
What up, Alex?